who wants to have that? Who wants to go viral? Everyone to be talking about you, to be talking about your relationship, your love, and then for it not to work. Right. Sister, we're praying for you. I don't know what's going on in your relationship or your marriage, but we're praying for you. And then Shade Barra posted it.
Those comments you can't control.
Oh, we do it. Oh, these Instagram couples. That's what I'm saying. It's not real. And it was frustrating me. And it took everything in me not to comment back. And also not to do something, a video, in a bitter, angry place. Carl Loco was an ex-gang member. Right. So certain things I'm putting down to the fact
he was an ex-gang member.
I was broken, crying in my bed, like, because I felt like I failed. It wasn't anything drastic. It was the fact that going through my head that I've got to just learn to live with it. And then for me, I lost my mum, and I was like life is so short. Do you just learn to live with something that's clearly affecting you?
So welcome to the channel. I am here with the lovely Cassie.
Hey!
We are going to be talking about a lot of different topics today. This is obviously episode 2 of my intimacy series. And today we're talking about life after divorce. I know there's a lot of you guys that ask me out there how to get through a breakup, how to go through a divorce, and I don't know. I've only had a breakup with a boyfriend, and I know it's completely different with a husband. So we just want to hear your story and be as real and open and honest as you can, and want to be, introduce yourself for those who don't know you.
So I'm Cassie. In what year is it now? I don't remember the date anymore. But literally, I got married and I had a viral wedding. I posted a picture on my page, and my husband and Sam posted a picture on his page. I was like, oh, if I get like 1,000 likes, that would be amazing. I had like 800 followers at the time. I posted it, I kind of went away from my phone, and then I went back to my phone, and it was like my phone had broken. I was like,
literally broke the internet.
I went to Instagram, I was like, why does it keep going 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second? And then like every time I moved it was like people were liking, and then I was like, and I realised obviously it had gone viral. A lot of like my bridesmaid had posted. Yeah. Like we said, oh, we're going to post at the same time, but literally it was like, it wasn't to break the internet. It was like to, I don't know what we thought. I just didn't think.
So you all intentionally posted it?
Yeah, like we all posted, like there was a picture of us, like I think like
with the hands up. Yeah.
All my bridesmaids posted it at the same. It was like, yeah, let's post it all at the same time. But I didn't with the intention of it going viral. Just more like, yeah, let's just post it.
Right.
I don't know, like we all posted at the same time, and then it just went crazy. And then we was like, okay, do you know what, we should start a YouTube channel from that, and the rest was
history. How long was you and your ex together for?
11 years.
11 years. Married for how long?
4 years.
4 years. And you guys broke up?
Officially we broke up it was just after lockdown. I think it was 2020 we broke up.
2020?
2020.
The only person ever said 2020. I was trying to calculate.
2020? Yeah, 2020. I think we broke up in 2020, yeah.
But then you announced the divorce.
We announced it, I think, in 2021, in April.
Right. So when you had made the announcement, you had already been separated.
Yeah. But it was because I felt like, you know, like loads of people are talking. Yeah. And they're talking about, like they used to see us together, pictures posted together. We're not posting pictures together. We're in the same places, like same country. That was we're both in Ghana together, but we're not together. And people are starting to talk, obviously seeing my ex out and then me out. And then they're like, oh, Castle's this person, Castle's doing this. Like all those little whispers.
Yeah.
And it was a bit like, for me, it felt like maybe I should just stop the talking. Yeah. And where it's like becoming a bit negative or like, oh, this person's bad or that, but no, we've separated and
yeah. So when you guys did actually separate, and did people that follow you notice that anything was different?
Everyone kept messaging me.
What was they saying?
Sister, we're praying for you. I don't know what's going on in your relationship or your marriage, but we're praying for you. And, you know, you and Carl, or like, where's Carl? Just like that. Where's Carl? Where's Carl? Like, why are you not posting Carl? Is everything okay with you and Carl? I'm not trying to be nosy, but is everything okay with you?
I'm not trying to be nosy, but I'm trying to be nosy.
Is everything okay with you and Carl? Are you okay? Oh, you don't look yourself. Oh, you're acting different. Oh, you're posting first traps. Like, that's what I was getting a lot. Like, yeah, you just got in a relationship and look at you, girl. I was like, there's nothing to do with that. Okay, guys? Carl does not care how I dressed. Yeah. So it was nothing to do with that. Yeah, but I was getting everything under the sun, and that's what it was. It was like, for Carl, he didn't mind. He's kind of like that. He's a very private person. He doesn't mind what people think. For me, which I feel like I'm not really like that anymore, but I really cared what people thought. It was like, I just don't want him to think that this is how we are, like, we're basically together, and this is what's
right.
So that's what made me just be like, and even that, I said it, I don't know, sometimes what I think, I said it, and I thought, oh yeah, like, I'm gonna say it, and then there was such good comments under my post, like, loads, like, we're praying for you,
after you announced the divorce?
Yeah.
Right.
And I posted it, like, I was like, oh yeah, we've just separated, and everyone was like, oh, things happened, and then Shade Bar posted it.
Yeah, those comments you can't control, because they don't care about you. They know of you, but they're not your followers. Yeah.
I
read the comments?
I spoke to Carl the day, he was like, don't read any of the comments, prepare for it. And of course I went to the comments. Who's long? I'm going to go to the comments. I went to the comments, I scrolled those comments, and yeah, I was breaking inside, like, reading what people had to say, like, oh, we knew it, oh, these Instagram couples, oh, that's what I'm saying, they just overnight, and it's not real, that, no, there wasn't even love. I'm like, 11 years.
Yeah. You guys were the first couple ever for me to see a viral wedding. I feel like you guys invented viral weddings, because before that, especially in the UK, because you guys went from UK global. Like, it was viral wedding.
But you know what it is? My friend, the year before, she had the viral wedding. So in Egypt, in one of her videos, she said,
for richer, for poorer, for richer, and for richer.
I don't know if you ever saw that, like, going around. But she literally said in her vows, they said for richer, for poorer, she said for richer, for richer.
Your wedding didn't go viral because of a comment.
Yeah.
You went viral because everybody was amazed at how beautiful it was. Obviously, you had the whole Black Lives Matter with the fist in the air.
I don't know. It's so weird. It was one of my best friend who said, oh, why don't we try to do the fist? And I was like, yeah. And obviously, there was the time.
It was around the time.
Yeah. And then it's all the things that happened, even the way the wedding looked. For everyone was like, oh, but for me,
it wasn't you.
I was like, I just wanted more flowers. Like, me and Carl was speaking, was like, yeah, you know, he was like, before we got married, like, as, like, just, you know, talking as he was like, yeah, you know, our wedding one day, like, way before, it was like, yo, our wedding one day will be in the papers and, like, in the magazines, and I was like, oh.
You prophesied it.
Yeah, and then literally on the day, there was some people taking pictures of us, like, across the road, like, just people, passers by, and I was like, that must be the press. And I was making jokes, and then for it to do what it did, I was like, yeah, wow, this is,
When the divorce news did break, what hurt the most, I guess?
I think that people didn't believe in our love that we had.
That it was actually real.
That
it wasn't
real.
For Instagram.
It was
because people saw you on Instagram, and then that's the view that they...
And it was frustrating me, and it took everything in me not to...
Comment back.
And also not to do something, a video, in a bitter, angry place.
Way,
and be like, I don't even know. Like, I really want to say more. I kept wanting to say more. Like, no, I've got more to say, though. I've got more to say. And it was like, oh, see what I mean? These weddings that you just pay their money for, and then it... Like, that was the comments that I was...
start hating.
Yeah, and already people had their opinions on that. So it was like, it was just seeing that and trying to just be like, oh, Cass, it's...
I think from... Obviously, you're my friend, but from an outsider as well, it was shocking. Like, that news was shocking, because when people see viral weddings or they see couples together, you almost get a sense of... You feel like this is like this is what's possible. And you were the only couple, like, breaking up in 2020, and so it was like another one. Literally.
Look,
so
even
it's
for
like,
me, who wants to have that? Who wants to go viral? Everyone to be talking about you, to be talking about your relationship, your love, and then for it not to work.
Right.
Who would want that? Because I definitely didn't want that. So
we only see the positive side. We see the likes. We see the virality. Like, I always say, people, you don't want to go viral. I did a reel the other day, and it was taking off, and it's like, it was giving me anxiety.
Yeah.
Like,
I get you.
It's giving me anxiety. I don't even want to read comments, because then you see one negative comment from someone that doesn't follow you. They don't know you. Now it's like, I want to hide. Like, I don't even want to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%. It was going through the breakup, as in publicly. That's how it felt. That was a lot. And obviously people were like, you didn't have to say anything then.
You did have to say something.
It was, to me, it's like, we did this in front of you. Do you get it? Right. We chose to come on the internet and show our love and show what we, like, our bond and all that. So now I can't be like, oh, why the because people are going to have something, their opinions.
Right.
And that's what I had to say. I had to say to myself, they don't know you. That's their opinions on your relationship. And I kept saying this thing to myself, like, at the end of the day, I didn't ever say I was relationship goals.
No, you guys made us relationship goals, right?
I never put myself on any platform saying I am goals. I tried to show so much of who we were.
Normal.
But people still, regardless of what you show them, are going to make their fairy tale and they're going to make you their goals.
Right.
What they're searching for, looking for, is who they make you. And I get it. Trust me, I get it, because lack love. And I want to say that it's not that we didn't love each other. Relationships can't last just on love. Doesn't it? Anyone to know that? It's not enough. Yeah. And I think that's where it got like painful. It was like, I don't think we loved each other. We don't. Yeah. And after we got a child,
you almost feel like you have to prove yourself or prove what you had. And it's nobody's business.
And that's when I just had to be like, it's okay. Like coming to terms with the fact that people are going to have an opinion of you. Because before that, the opinion was really good.
Yeah.
You know, like, people be like, do you have 12? Not really.
right.
Like, no. So
everyone loves us.
We're fine. Like, so when it was like, people don't like you, it was like, or have something negative to say, it was so, it was like, wow, this is how it is for people who are out there putting themselves, and people just have something to say. So, yeah.
Right. So going back to like love not being enough, I guess people do want to know what happened, because I feel like your statement was very vague. I even had to Google, what did you say?
I can't remember.
Was it
neurological difference?
Neurological differences. So I'm like, what the hell does that mean? So I messaged you and you was telling me, you was explaining at the time as well. I was going through a situation where I feel like my guy was on the spectrum. So I was thinking, and then we had a whole conversation that we probably won't even get into. But and I think a lot of people are experiencing that, but they have no idea.
And this is the thing. Carl's on the spectrum. He's got a form of autism. Yeah, and remember the spectrum is very wide. So, and this is what I've learned, obviously, coming out of the relationship. I'm also on the spectrum, but on the other end, which is where the problem...
You have ADHD.
Yeah, ADHD, which is where the problem kind of happened, because I am highly emotional and he's highly logical. Right. And bringing those two people together is almost a recipe for disaster. Basically, as well, what we found out after, which is really interesting, is that what I was going through at the time, and I would say to Carl how I'm feeling, etc., and it would be like, get up, like, come on, stop being so emotional. And I didn't know how to articulate what I was going through, and like you said, a lot of people don't even know what it is to be on the autistic spectrum. They don't even understand it. No. ADHD to people is like that hyper child that was in school. There's highly functional and there's people that are not as functional. Carl is as highly functional as there is.
When we talk about highly functioning, it's that you can almost hide it.
Yeah, like, they mask.
You mask.
Yeah. So when they're in public, they have it's not even like, because it makes it sound like they're acting like two people. It's not. It's just when they're in public, they're able to just be...
Put on a persona.
Yeah. And then when they're at home, they're them.
They're completely them.
Completely. And they obviously relax comfortably with who they love. For me, what I was going through is called the Cassandra syndrome.
Really?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it basically is like, you feel alone, you feel rejected, you feel like no one understands what you're saying. It's something that they make you feel like you're lying because you're saying things, but it's like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? I don't
understand. I know him. So this is all. You can Google it. It's a term. So people that are going out of autistic men or men on the spectrum who have got Asperger's, etc., you have the Cassandra syndrome, which is my name.
That is crazy.
So yeah, it's like he was very logical in terms of just like A, B, C, D, E, and I was like the in betweens. And people always say, "Oh yeah, but didn't you know this before?" This is what we get. Me and Carl got together. He was 18 and I was 19. We were very young. We got together in the church at that young age, and a lot of people will understand what I'm saying when I say we got together in the church.
Yeah, that's loaded.
Yeah, so we was young, we were figuring it out, finding ourselves, and of course very much in love with each other, but we still didn't know ourselves.
Didn't know yourself, couldn't know each other, really.
We've come together and we're working out. So there's certain kinks, as some people
married
know.
Couples.
Carl Loco was an ex-gang member.
Right.
So certain things I'm putting down to the fact
he was an ex-gang member.
And we're going to work through it. And certain things he's putting down to the fact of me is that I've had a certain upbringing.
Right.
Do you understand? So it's like, oh, she's a bit emotional. She's a bit, she's going to, level out. She's going to become a bit more level-headed. So it's all of these things we said, and we kind of got into a routine. And with people on the spectrum, routines are crucial. Once they get into a routine, they can just kind of like follow that. So we go to church, and most of the time we'll be at church. So I know the masked Carl most of the time.
Right.
And obviously, as believers, they say, oh, you're not supposed to move into, you're not supposed to do something. Do you understand? So when we did eventually move in, it was like, oh. So I know extrovert. Then I meet an introvert Carl who he doesn't really like to go out. Like, he's more like in the house, and it was fine. I'm more like, I'll go out and then he'd be kind of at home, and then we'd go to church, he'd read. Also, people on the spectrum have hyper focus. So if Carl wants to do, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
And that was something that inspired me. He's so brilliant, he's so inspirational, and I'd be like, wow, like, he was so inspiring, and you know, you put your head to something, and that was like, one of the things that really like I loved about Carl. So we would, you know, just seeing that stuff, and then he'd say something and it would happen. So many things like, I'm gonna be this one day, I'm gonna be that, and it was just happening.
Right.
And I was part of that, like, train. He then started doing a lot of work with like the Bransons and started doing stuff, and he'd be away from home. And obviously what I didn't understand as well is with people on the spectrum, they mask a lot and they pick up things. So whoever they're around a lot, they become like. So when he's in church, he's very like a certain way. And when he would started going different places, it's like he just started to find himself. He started to grow, and I started to grow. So we're 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and then now like 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds grow and learn. Like Carl said, I'll never wear skinny jeans, and then
you wear skinny jeans.
I said I'll never do that, and I'm doing it. All of those changes we're trying to navigate as a married young couple without any
guidance.
No guidance. He was working like with a company called Kids Company. They realised he might be on the spectrum from working with him. Wow. And then he went and done an assessment, and he was. And that's how we found out. So he was diagnosed as an adult, which is so difficult as well, because he didn't get therapy, he didn't get coping mechanisms, he just learned to cope himself. From there, we should have really probably sought out a counsellor or a therapist. Yeah. But we didn't, because we didn't have that sort of knowledge. I don't even think I even thought about praying about it.
Because you were like, he's coping with it.
Yeah, exactly. We're good. You only really know your relationship when you go through certain crucial points. So when my mum passed, that was a crucial point. Right. Whereas I was at my lowest, most emotional, erratic, and he was logical, Carl. And it was just like a lot to deal with. And then we were supposed to get married.
The same year?
Yeah. And then my mum passed, so we couldn't. Right. So we then said we're going to do it next year. I'm going through all this stuff, but it's probably because of me. It's because I'm emotionally all over the place, and we've just found out about the diagnosis, but it's like, we love each other, and it's okay, it's fine. We're just going to get married, and we're going to just go on the horses somewhere and ride, and life is going to be good, and we're going to have children. That's what we did. And then we spoke again, logical. Carl said, are you sure you can do this? Like, and I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, why? I wouldn't say anything different. Why would I say, oh, let me think about, no, I love you, it makes sense. Yeah, you've been diagnosed, but we might have these certain arguments, differences, situations, but we've got this. And Carl was my first sexual partner, I don't think I'd been in a relationship as long as him. Like, he was just my first everything. And I had never seen a version of a relationship, marriage. And I also had this, like, best way to put it is a Christian girl jacket on. When you have a Christian girl jacket on, I'll say like this, and it's like, don't have sex, don't do this. When it comes to now doing that stuff, I still had a Christian girl jacket on. Right. I still, like, I don't know, it's TMI, I don't know how I should say. Go ahead. Yeah, but like, it was like, I was still very much like, like, just, just didn't. So it was like, we was clashing on all different ways. Yeah, we'd have like church counselling, but I just don't think it was what we needed. If you've gone through any level of trauma, and you're going into a relationship, you need a professional. I had my own trauma from moving around, from living in all these different homes, from not having my dad in the house from a certain age, from so much. I was carrying loads of bags, and he was carrying bags from him seeing violent crimes and growing up that. So it was like a lot. So we're trying to navigate, and to be honest, we was doing quite well. It got to a point where me and Carl was like best friends, but it wasn't a relationship.
And I think looking at you guys, we definitely saw the best friend side of things.
We're such good friends, and we know this, and we get along, but there's just certain things that are missing. And
when did you realise that you were missing those things?
I think we thought that, we could do this. Before the first lockdown, I started thinking, are we missing these things? I started thinking about him.
So how many years is that into your marriage?
Yeah, 3.
3, yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking, are we missing those things?
What made you think or question if you were missing those things?
Again, I'm very emotional. Carl's very logical. He's trying to make it work. He's very determined, and he's doing that. And as he's doing that, I've had a child. It brought back all the feelings of not having a mother. That grief again.
How long after you got married did you have Lion?
I think I got married in 2006 and had Lion in 2018.
So 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you guys have time to be a married couple?
We did. We did. So yeah, we did. We really did. It was more for me, again, like I said, not understanding my ADHD at the time, how emotional I was, not having the support in that area.
And not having your mum.
Not having my mum. And feeling like that.
Yeah.
And then being at home and thinking, Okay, so he can work and he can do, and I'm just here at home and I'm trying to navigate it. And it's not that he's not helping. It's almost becoming like we're living two separate lives.
Right. Your mum mode. And he's business mode.
Yeah. He would look after Lion for a certain time. I'm looking after Lion after that. We weren't being a married couple. That's not just down to him being at work. That's down to, like I said, me with my Christian jacket on, not really understanding relationships and how to be...
What it means to be a wife.
What it means to be a wife. I remember we would meet and I'd be like, you say, oh, do you cook? No. I'm a Deliveroo wife. Like, and I wouldn't.
I was like, she got it made, boy.
I feel like at the time it's like we both knew we had our own issues, so it was like almost like, well, I got my issues, you got some. It's okay,
right?
That's how it was. Well, yeah, you're not emotional like that. You're very logical, but I don't really cook. So do you get it? That's how it was.
We balance it out.
We're balancing it. We're trying to balance it. If I'm honest, it was just more of like both of us trying to find ourselves on our honeymoon. We went to like Tony Robbins, like a
for your honeymoon.
Yeah, they were just basically saying, like, with relationships, it's like a circle. So it's like you fall in love, you're with someone, and there's all this like sexual chemistry, love, everything, and then you start to have certain issues. And I think it's called depolarization. You get to a point basically where now bitterness starts to set in, and your resentment starts to set in, and if you don't nip it in the bud from then, it's almost like it just becomes a cycle. He's not really as vocal, and it was becoming like, I'm nagging.
You're nagging. Now you're nagging.
Now I'm nagging.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it's like, oh, this, and it's like, oh, this, At the time you think, oh, it's them, it's all you. But when I think about it now, it's like, it was just, I would react to a high level. I just wait, take a moment, maybe think about what you're saying, but I wouldn't, and then I'll say it. And then after I've said it, it's said, it's done.
Can't
unsay it. And it was just getting like that.
You always had love. I mean, you still have love now, isn't it? Yeah.
It just became like friendship.
Yeah.
And it was like friends that were really arguing now. It just got too much. And the first lockdown, we was great. And that's why I thought,
yeah, we're good. You see all the couples breaking up in the first lockdown.
I was like, nice. Good. Like, we was good. And then, because of how Carl is, when it's just us, he can hyper-focus on that. But now, again,
the world's got to open back up again.
And he's got to go work, and it just, yeah. And I was just like, can I do this forever? And then I was reading again. I didn't know about the Cassandra syndrome then. I was reading things, and I was like...
You was reading on women's experiences, because I was doing the same.
I was reading, and it was just like, this doesn't get better. You've got to learn to live with it. It wasn't anything drastic. It was the fact that going through my head that I've got to just learn to live with it. And then for me, I lost my mum, and I was like life is so short. Do you just learn to live with something that's clearly affecting you? Like I said, we wasn't getting therapy at that time. I just felt like, well, I can't. And one thing for me now, I would say is, don't ever go on a break.
Even break.
That was a mistake, I think, because work it in therapy, work it out, and
work
be like,
it out.
okay, yeah, that is okay. It's not it. You can't, because we're not going to work. You know, how people be like, yeah, but he could get it's. He's on the spectrum, and I love Christians. I love you so much. I'm Christian.
We can,
but you guys message me all the time saying I shouldn't speak what I am over me, and I should speak the word of God.
I hate that.
All this stuff, and I understand what you're saying to a certain extent, but I also understand what it's like to grow up with being on the spectrum, and the feeling of it, and to know it's there, and to go through that without the right help. And now that I've got the right help, I'm like, I just should have had this all this time.
Before, but because of the shame of like
you saying that, you confessing that into your life.
We have to say this, saying that you have something is not confessing it. It's not speaking over your life. It's actually accepting the reality that there's something different. I was diagnosed with dyslexia and dyspraxia. Like, if I mention it to certain people, they were like, oh, no. Don't say that. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? And so when we're not allowed to say it, we almost hide in shame.
Yeah.
And then we don't get help.
We don't get help. And when
life is harder.
Life is
and we're the ones that have to live the life. Not the person that's saying, don't speak that over your life.
People will be like, with me, with ADHD, it's like, you're lazy, you're this, you're not. lazy. And that's the thing. I think knowing what it is allows me to be like, I'm not lazy.
Right.
And I can.
Right.
Whereas when I didn't know, it's like, I am lazy.
Right.
I can't do like simple tasks that someone would be like, oh, that's so simple. Like, you're a wife. It's like, not for me. And this is the thing. And same with Carl. Simple thing that someone would be like, oh, it's so easy for you. No, it's not. It's really hard for him. And that's what the reality was. The reality was him telling me that, Cass, I could probably give you 5% more, but this is me. And me being like, this is me. So I had to think about my child in this situation. Do I want to grow my child in a home where his mum is probably going to be unhappy most of the time or some of the time and his dad's going to be feeling and it's good, like, or do I want to say, all right, let's just let it go. And that was the hardest thing I've ever, of course it's the hardest thing. I had a child. Like, why would I want to do that? Like, it's not something I'd ever dreamed or thought would ever happen.
Would you say that you were the one that initiated it?
I think I initiated the conversation.
Okay.
But I feel like in the end it was a joint decision.
You agreed?
Yeah. I think it was like, okay. I think he could see what I was going through. And then, again, when people respect, he was kind of probably happy to live the way we were because that's how much he loved me. Knowing that it wasn't maybe the best thing for him.
Was there ever an element of him feeling like, well, you just have to accept it, you have to deal with it?
Yeah. That was where it got to the point where it was like, this is too much. Because it was an element of, this is me. And I felt like maybe he could get better in therapy. But at the same time, I had to listen to, if someone told you something, you have to listen to what they're saying.
You do have to. So you guys didn't do therapy? Wow.
We didn't. And that's what's obviously is sad. Because we didn't work it through. We tried
within yourself.
But we didn't. I don't even think I had the thought of that because that's
so no one that was in your church recommended you guys go to couples therapy. Do you have other Christian couples that were friends?
It was so quick.
It was so quick.
It was so, and that's what I'm saying is that I can't say that's his fault. That's me. But then at the same time, it's in terms of it's me that had the conversation. But at the same time, I guess we both just was like, I think we was both tired.
Tired, yeah.
That's what it was. We were just both tired. It was like, I guess on his side, I can't be what she wants me to be. And on my side, I'm not being what you want me to be. Like, I'm not. I felt like it would get worse. And I didn't want my child, like, Lion to be in that. As time went on, obviously, I then went to therapy. He went to therapy. And, yeah, we realised, like, a lot of things and a lot of reasons why we had got to that space.
What would you have done differently? Or what advice would you give to people who like may be in that situation? They may be dating someone that is on the spectrum. They may be having problems, but you're saying, I love this person, we can make it work. And what would you say to that person?
Go to therapy. Get professional help. Obviously, we know this in a relationship, we say this. Everyone has to be at their 100%. You have to be 100%. And obviously, no one's perfect. But a lot of times, people on the spectrum may say something harsh. Like,
and you're like, oh, damn, that hurt my feelings.
And they're not trying to hurt your feelings. They may not consider your emotions or your feelings. But through counselling, they can be like, okay, no, but this isn't how you deal with it. I'm not saying that everyone can be with someone on the spectrum. I don't want anyone to feel like being on the spectrum is a net like you're never going to find love. Because I know people that I found love and that are in love. I just think it's working. It's like anything, working on it and working to be together. Because being with someone that's completely different to you and thinks different to you is a lot. And I'd say having a support network. Because
that's even important for marriage, even if you're not on the spectrum.
It's hard to talk to your friend about your relationship with someone who's on the spectrum to someone who's in a relationship with someone that's not. I know people are watching this like, oh my gosh, because there's so many people on the spectrum. So I know people are like, oh my god, this is my relationship, this is how I feel. Like, I speak to someone who'll be like, you need to leave him today, like, because they don't get it. It's
based on what he's done,
or said, they're not realising that. So it's like even that. Hearing something, it's like, oh, it's so confusing. But having someone that understands his spectrum and being like, this is that. And that's unacceptable, or that is this. So, do you understand? It's like, it was like trying to figure it out. And then the same with me, having someone that can be like to him, she's highly emotional. Sometimes she may say something it's not even, I used to say things that I think's real by the way someone's acting. But ADHD sometimes makes you think
overly.
And it's not that. Like, oh, different blouse. And I'm like, he said he doesn't like my blouse. He didn't say that. So he just didn't. So it was so complicated because we're both, but I'd say
other ends of the
therapy, support network, prayer. don't think I prayed on certain things enough because I didn't understand it.
Right. So in saying that, people probably be like, oh, guys, we go to therapy. I guess you guys can work it out. Do you feel like there's any hope of reconciliation?
At the moment, we're both just working ourselves out, and we're happy that way, and we're happy co-parenting.
We're going to talk about the healing process. Can you talk us through your healing process? Was it hard? How did you go through the process? What is the most important thing that you feel like needs to happen after divorce?
It's like grief, and that's what I didn't realise. I didn't realise that it was going to feel like a level of grief that I'm going to be okay one day, then the next day I'm going to not be okay, and the day after that I'm going to be okay again. I'm like, yeah, I got this, and then the next day I'm going to be like, no, I don't have this, and then I'm going to miss levels of like what I had in my marriage and miss my ex. I didn't realise I was going to feel like that, and also I didn't realise there was a sense of like relief, and I didn't think I was going to have that feeling of like.
Was that your initial feeling?
At first, yeah. It was like, because like I said, because of the way the relationship was, I had a lot of anxiety. We are both people that need help in certain areas, and I felt like because of Carl's needs, a lot of the times I was trying to help him. I needed help.
You were neglecting your own.
With having ADHD, I had anxiety. Sometimes I wouldn't say I did a great job, but I would be trying to like navigate, like maybe he's going through something or having like a feeling because of his difference, and then it would be like, now I've got anxiety, I'm like getting anxious. I'm like, oh yeah, but what if? And that's how I'd feel a lot. And I remember when my mum passed, the feeling of like, oh gosh, and I have to be worrying if she's okay.
Okay,
so it was like the same sort of. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, it's just like grief. And then obviously I read books about healing. And I think it's a process. I still feel like I'm healing.
Yeah.
It's a different level of...
How long's it been now?
A year and a half, maybe 2 years. So it's a long... It's not a long time.
But
it's a long enough time. Yeah. A lot of therapy. And then coming to the realisation that I made the decision for a reason. So you feel like you're asking, oh yeah, but why would you...
You start second guessing yourself, like, did I make the right choice?
Yeah. And even when you said, oh yeah, but could you get... It's like, no, but I need to do that for me at that time. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, it doesn't matter how anyone else feels. We felt that was best for us as a family, for moving forward. You can second guess, because of course you will. You was with someone for however long you was with them. Even people that come out of like really abusive relationships come out and say, oh, they miss their partner.
Oh yeah.
Because you've been with that person.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So
familiar.
Yes. And so I knew that I had to get my head around at the time, at that moment you made it, you felt that was the best decision for you, and that's okay.
That's good. What do you think, for those that have never been to therapy before, what is it about therapy that is so powerful? I
think it's like talking to someone. So you talk to your therapist, and they don't necessarily talk that much. In talking, what it makes you do is then look at yourself and be like, like it made me realise why I acted in certain ways, and it also made me let myself off the hook. Because
stop punishing yourself.
At first, I don't know. At first, when I came out, I was like, "Oh, he did, and he was, and he is, and he is." And then I was like, "No, you," at myself.
Yeah.
Yo, you did this, you did that. And then I was like, I caused that. I started to really point things up. And then I was like, Cass, but what examples did you have? What
compassion? Yeah.
Yeah, I started to love it. Like, could be like, oh, Cass, it's okay. Like you was going through things too. You had lost your mum. You did your best. That is what therapy did for me in terms of just looking inwardly, healing the inner child in me. Like literally healing that little girl.
About therapy, yeah.
That little girl who was, and just being like, okay, I'm not a broken individual. And also made me also see him. It wasn't intentional. Like there's a lot of traits that come with being on the autism spectrum, and I just had to realise that he wasn't trying to kill me.
Yeah. It wasn't
like his words. He was just doing the best he could. And I think once I realised that, I was just like,
that is definitely a breakthrough healing. Whether it's with an ex, whether it's with a spouse, whether it's a parent, understanding that you did your best, they did the best, and sometimes it just doesn't.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah,
like, life goes on for sure. How does it compare from a year and a half ago to now? How do you feel? Sorry, because I just have to laugh.
How's it compare? I was crying every 5 minutes. How it compares now is just, I was so broken. You know that there's like a post, I think, on Instagram that was going around that's like, show us when you was most broken and no one knew. And I was like, flipping the whole year on Instagram, like, smiling, oh, new year, new me. And I was broken, crying in my bed, like, because I felt like I failed. And being obviously a believer as well, sometimes Christians are unkind. They're so unkind, they make you feel like you did fail and that you've done something wrong and look like you're less of a person, a woman now that you it didn't work. And
you think divorce is harder on women? When
I think definitely.
Yeah.
I think divorce is so hard on women sometimes, and then just feeling like having a child, and then it feeling like, oh, okay, but you left your home, and that's what I would hear. It was like a tinge in the air, like, yeah, but he's so great. He's so great. He's so great. And it was like, every time I heard he's so great, it was like making me feel like, so I'm so not.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you've got a child, like, who's gonna want who's gonna want you now?
The same rhetoric though, isn't it?
And I was just like, I'm saying that's just therapy that had to be coming and be like, that's not
who you are.
Do you understand? And what do you mean, who's going to what someone would? I wasn't just Carl's wife. I'm Cassandra.
Right.
And I'm in a place where now that obviously I still have moments where I think, oh my gosh, 11 years of my life. It can feel like you've lost time. But I didn't. Now I'm just like, I learned so much. I learned so much. And if I'm honest, me and Carl's relationship now confuses me in the sense of, we're so good. Like, we're so good at co-parenting. Like, this is, for my son, I'm like, to him to see this is beautiful. What he would have seen, that wasn't beautiful.
Right.
And that was where it was becoming toxic and argumentative. And now it's like level-headed and peaceful, and he helped.
And that was the last thing I wanted to talk about, was co-parenting, because I guess people that follow you will see that, like, he tags you and stuff, and you tag him, and you spend, like, time together or whatever. How do you
I'm still navigating this, because everyone, like, to me, sometimes I'm like, how do we do this? But we were such good friends. That was our thing. When we spoke about, like, you should be someone's friend first. We were really friends. It wasn't fake. It wasn't, we were best friends. We talked, like, that's what we were. So coming out of it was hard to navigate that. Okay, we've got to put boundaries on this friendship. But we said that we want our son to know that both of his parents love him and loved each other. We don't want him to feel like we're at odds. So we do what we need to do to make sure that that doesn't happen. And we want him to see us together and be okay with that. We're just trying to navigate now the new normal. I know everyone's going to be like, yeah, but what about when you have a partner?
Yeah.
They're going to have to learn.
You'll face that when you come to it.
To me, it's like, when we do have partners, me and Carl are friends. It's not more. It's nothing more. Anything. It's not, I don't call him in the middle of the night to ask him any other questions. Do you understand? So it's like, we want our son to know that we're a family. We would just bring you in on the family. Like, you can come on the day trips. You can be a part of that. And obviously we don't know what it is yet. Yeah, we just want to still have that, a family for our son. So
that's beautiful. Sadly, that's not the case for a lot of people.
I know.
I mean, I've been looking at Kim Kardashian and Kanye West going through it, and I think, like you said, if there was no friendship there, like, it's kind of hard to like the person. Because I find that in relationships, some people only have love. They don't have like. Yeah. They don't have like.
And this is the thing. That's why it gets really toxic. When it starts to not have like.
Yeah.
And that's where I think me and Carl was getting to. Where it's like, we were so good. It's like, why are we having we were friends.
Yeah.
And that's where now breaking up on those terms can be difficult. And don't get me wrong, we had times where we would, like, go back and forth, or we had to be like, we know what we want. That's what we had to be like, to always be like to each other. Okay, I'm never going to use lying as a tool, no matter how annoying you are. Sometimes I'm never going to use our son as a tool. My mum and my dad were married; they broke up. I know what it was,
right?
And I said, I'm not doing that to my son. I'm not going to be talking about your dad. You've got a father who loves you. He may not at times do what I want him to do, but that's nothing to do with you.
Right. You got to separate the father from the.
Separate the two. Yeah. Certain things on the internet, like, just keep off the internet. No one has to know.
Right. Keep your business off the internet. Yeah.
Like, why do you need to know that you two are arguing? And I think now, I just want to keep everything off the internet. I don't even know if anyone would know I was in a relationship or married. Like, it'd be like, you just see a ring one day, maybe. Like, wouldn't. Right. Do you get it? Because it's like, now I'm just like.
So if you were to do it again, you wouldn't want the attention that comes with.
When we got into the marriage and then it went viral and then we was doing YouTube for a while, we said, because it was becoming camera face.
Performative.
Yeah. Because you don't like your partner all the time. That's normal. Like,
people can argue off camera, come on YouTube.
And I was like, no, we don't do that. Oh, we got to think of somewhere to go for the camera.
Right.
We wanted to have our moments. He was like, he's going to, like, step away a bit, and was like, yeah, we're going to have our relationship off camera, like, not camera based. I'm not saying that everyone does that, but for me,
it's a bit techie when the internet is involved.
Yeah, because people want to see content.
Yeah. And now your life becomes content. Yeah.
And it was like, I started to not want that, and then also, like, having lying, and I was like, I just don't want everyone in so much. So that's how it became. And then now I'm just like, just don't want anyone in at all.
That's all. Last question I want to ask you is, how does it feel going from a wife to a baby mother? And I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but it's like having a husband and now he's just your baby father.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what it is? I feel like I don't take on that term. He's the father of my child, I'm the mother of his child. Before, it was like, that's how it felt. It did feel like, now I'm just the. But now it feels like, no, I'm the mother of his child. And we were married, and that was a season of our life that was beautiful, and it ended.
Right.
That's how I feel now.
Like, even people that wasn't married, you're all baby mothers now. The term in itself is degrading anyway. I think we've kind of glamorized it. But no, I was actually married to this person.
Yeah. It was, at the first, it was a lot of shame. It wasn't my esteem, but it was so esteemed. Do you understand? It's like, you are now the queen because you was married. That was it. Yeah. It was like, you were married. Like, and then it's like, I got... Not married anymore. Like, you are now.
So it wasn't you didn't feel that way when you was married, like, oh, I'm my wife.
No, I don't think
people looked at you like that.
Do you know what it is? I don't think I was ever a child that was like, I just need to be married. That wasn't my thing.
Yeah, it happened.
If that makes sense. It happened and I was happy. But it wasn't like, I need to be married and just, that was my dream.
Get my work that way. Yeah.
That wasn't what it was. So I was so happy because I loved Carl. But I felt like I had dated so many different people. If you go to my YouTube, you see like girls, men. Like, I felt like I just been looking for love.
Right.
So when I found Carl, I was like, this is my person. What I miss about marriage is you have a person. That's with you, and you're going together. Yeah. And it's like, I got you in this, and you got me in this.
Right.
And then when you're not in that, it's like, I got myself.
How does that feel being alone? Not even necessarily lonely, but alone. That is just you now. Before it was it Carl and Cass or Cass and Carl?
Cass and Carl.
Cass and Carl.
Yeah.
Now it's just Cass.
It's so weird because I feel like as Lion's mum and dad, we've got each other.
Right.
And having that, that's nice.
You still feel that almost safety.
Yeah, where like we have each other and we're raising this little human, and I have that. Even though that's the truth, I think it can get unhealthy when it's, I'm leaning on you to be my pillar.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, but I want God to be my pillar.
Right.
And I want to lean on him.
You had to replace.
And I had to just understand that I started to
idolize him.
Yeah. And it's like, that's where I think I'm happy where I am, because I'm like, it's just making me trust God. I feel like a little child, like navigating the world again.
And I love that because you're very vulnerable about that. You go and, I mean, you're always on your Insta stories talking about like cooking, do whatever. And I think it's nice for people to see the human side. And it's not like you're sharing your business. You're just like, you're being vulnerable, you're being open, you're being transparent. And it's just like,
sometimes too much. I'm just like,
but it's like people feel like they know you.
Yeah, I'm like that as a person. It's not like I want to demystify I want to change the world's opinion. But it's like, we're creating very toxic relationships when we tell people that they shouldn't leave
a relationship or marriage.
Like, at the end of the day, I always said, that's why I didn't do any things before, because I was like, I don't want to come and be bitter about marriage. Marriage is so beautiful. But if two people don't work, it doesn't work.
Don't force it.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Gone are the days where you need to just stay in it and suffer, and like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
I've said, like, really get to that place where you're like, it doesn't work. Don't just be like, it doesn't work because you had one argument, or like, no, it doesn't work. But don't, like, life is short. Don't stay in something that is really affecting you from being there, especially when you have a child.
Basically, what you're saying is that there is life after divorce.
There's life after divorce. I haven't found it all yet.
But you're working on a journey.
Yeah, I'm on a journey and I'm loving it. I'm loving just finding Cass again.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you guys, you're going to start YouTube again, right?
Yes, I am.
So I'm going to leave Cassie's information all in the description box below and also on the screen. You guys can follow her on Instagram. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Don't beat me up in the comments. Thanks.